Modern day masculine man, take one.
Ooh, what makes a modern day masculine man? When you drink your liquor straight, a modern day masculine man. I pay all the bills and I tells my woman the truth. Got my shit together, do what I wanna do, say what I wanna say. I won't break, you are not me, and I am not you. I kept it real, so now I can do what I wanna do. Modern masculine man. Welcome to Man School.
Welcome to the Modern Masculine Man Podcast, Mitch.
I can't hear you, Javon. Can you hear me?
I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Okay. Yeah, we good.
Okay. What up, fam? I'm gonna give a quick question sound check for the people in the audience to make sure we good out in the universe. There we go. Man, it's Tuesday night, man, and I'm excited because I want to talk about a subject. My homeboy hit me up today, and he just asked me straight up. He said, man, why do black people not want to erase the history of slavery? You know, Donald Trump talking about removing certain slave artifacts from the Smithsonian, certain things they didn't tore down all the Confederate soldiers that was downtown in the South, you know, different places. And he asked me, why do I think white people want to erase slavery and why do black people want to hold on to it? So I said, I want to talk about this. I want to see Trab's perspective. And I know I have my perspective. I think I have a good understanding of what's going on. I'm a history buff. I love history. Shout out, tonight's show is brought to you by Spiritual House Sage. I ain't going into what it do because YouTube hit me with the block saying you are giving medical information.
Yeah.
I got Ray Rob in the house. What's up, brother? Appreciate you coming in. So, Trab, man, before we get started on this Tough Talk Tuesday, man, how your week been this far, man? I know I talked to you earlier. You said it was going to be a little hard for you to get on right at 8, you know what I'm saying? But I appreciate you for being right here, right on time.
Yeah, man. Everything been going good, man. Like you said, I had to work today. I get off at 7, 12-hour days. And when you hit me and told me the topic, I say, man, that's some real talk right there. So I made a dash, man, and I made it, man. And I know it's going to be worth it all in the end.
And I see you got the hood soul wrapped around the back tonight. You know what I'm saying? Represent the hood soul. Yeah, man. I was thinking about it, and I told my man, the first instant response is we like women. Yeah. You know, a lot of times you be in a situation. I've seen situations where I worked at a battered women's shelter. I didn't work at a shelter. I volunteered. I cooked there twice a year on Mother's Day, and I think it was Easter. It was more spaced out. Whatever it was, I cooked there twice a year, and I would always listen to these battered women talk. And I figured that they would be more like blaming, but these battered women, they're the most accountable women on the face of this earth. Like, they was like, if you there, you was there for a reason. You didn't leave until you got ready to go. Fuck all that I was scared shit. You wanted that man until you didn't want him no more. But one of the things that battered women used to always say was that fucked me up. Once he first hit me, I felt like I had won. And I would always be listening. And they said, when he hit me and I stayed, I had something I can always hold over his head. Whenever he think about leaving me, I could say, you beat me and I stayed with you. And I was like, what the fuck? But the more and more I thought about it, it made sense. And I would hear these women say that they would provoke these men and want them to hit them. And they would say that he hit me one time and I stayed. And then he didn't hit me again for another 2 years. And they would say how they would try to provoke this man to get him to hit him again. It's like having one up on somebody, like a victimhood on somebody, like almost like you owe me something. You know what I'm saying? And that's how I look at slavery and black people. It's a constant excuse to throw out there when anything doesn't go our way. It's just a constant excuse. What do you think about that?
I mean, like you say, it happened. It's real. It has its effects in the proper context. You know, I think a lot of what we talk about it is just pure rhetoric. Like you say, and I don't want to say this unempathetic or not with empathy, but like I say, it's rhetoric, and sometimes we use it almost like as the fairy tale grab when we don't want to take accountability or we don't really understand how far that was and how far we come to truly really understand our position in it, other than just the idea of what happened to us.
You know, it's funny because I look at, say, for example, what's happening right now going on in the world with Charlie Kirk, and the rhetoric, you know, the Democratic left and liberals. And the world is being separated. And I've been saying for a long time, it ain't black and white. It's going to be Republican and Democrats because it's going to become a immoral thing. So I don't dislike Democrats or hate Democrats. I just know that they have a different ideology than me. I'm a conservative Republican. So say, for example, Charlie Kirk being killed, right? The Democrats have been saying for the past 4, 5 to 8 years since Trump first ran, well, 12 years, well, 8 years, 4 years when he was in office, 4 years with Biden, and here go 2 more years. Trump is a fascist. Trump is a dictator. He's like Hitler. And they've been saying this shit so much. Do they realize that rhetoric will enthrall rage in a certain group of people? You see what I'm saying? Yeah. And we do the same thing. The white man is my enemy. You know what I'm saying? The white man is not my enemy. I haven't had an enemy. I went to a public school. I went to breakfast and lunch. The bus picked me up, brought me home. They tried their best to teach my ass something so I can be a decent motherfucker in society. The people that once oppressed you and will hang you for reading turned around and said, I'll lock your mama and daddy up if they don't send you to school and let you learn how to read. Now look at this 360. Well, this 180. One end of the spectrum. I want to talk about that as we move forward. But go ahead and weigh in on that, man.
Like I say, man, I think it's context. And even now, when we hear like with Charlie Kirk and all the things he said, objectively and subjectively. Objectively is when you can look at something in its purest form without your emotional feelings, opinion, or perspective weighing in. Subjectively is when you look at it in that way. So when you talk about context in slavery, I've been in a situation where I've had a conversation about slavery with a white man who I know can't have empathy for what my grandparents and grandparents experienced. See, I know this. So if you expect a fish to climb a tree, then it ain't, at some point, it ain't about the fish no more. It's about you and your expectations. Mm-hmm. So when I hear white people talk about slavery and I'm in that conversation, I know it's subjective or I know it's objective from them, and they can't have empathy. Slavery was a business idea and a business model for them. But when I talk about slavery with my people, us, we, it's subjective. I understand the feelings. I understand what we went through. I understand what Jim Crow did to my daddy and my mama and my grandmama and how it affected us today. But that's two different conversations on two different contexts. And I don't think we understand when we in and out of context and we expecting fishes to climb a tree in white people, America, the system. Racism will lose its power when we stop expecting someone to love us when love ain't got shit to do with it.
You know, the biggest thing, as we're going to delve back into the history of slavery, and then we're going to walk forward real
Come
quick.
on.
And then we're going to see what America has done with slavery. First of all, we know that Africans enslaved weren't the first people enslaved. You know what I'm saying? They enslaved themselves first. Arabs enslaved us, the Dutch. Long story short, slavery in America ended in 1865, so-called, because the North and the South, which was the Union and the Confederate armies, fought. Basically, you had a situation. What up, Mike? You had a situation where the North was benefiting from the Industrial Revolution beginning to come around, and all the raw goods were coming from the South. So the North was like, yo, we spending money building these plants and building these machineries and shit, and y'all got free labor down there, and y'all pretty much got them running the nation. You know what I'm saying? You got free labor, and we getting all the natural resources from down there. So y'all pretty much running the nation. So it began a more of an economic argument. You know what I'm saying? As far as not as much so as blacks as slaves. But long story short, the North decided, hey, y'all gonna give up them slaves. The South said we not. They started the Confederate Army, like the government says, the Second Amendment right. You have the right to form a militia to protect yourself from a government, the right to keep people from coming in your homes, taking your shit. So they said, hey, look, under that, we started a militia. So these farmers started an army, and they fought the North. And they fought so well and so long, it got to the point where the North was like, it's time to make a treaty, because the further we go south, you notice they Gettysburg, Virginia, that's where they had the treaty at. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. It's like if we go down into South Carolina and get the kicking ass all through Georgia and everywhere, although they had fights here and there, we're gonna blow the whole goddamn South up. You know what I'm saying? So they had a treaty, and in that treaty, they decided, look, y'all are back a part of the Union. Y'all say y'all lost, but in honor of y'all losing, y'all can put up as many motherfucking statues of the heroes of y'all era that you want to. Y'all want to commemorate this war and say that y'all did a good job, y'all can put this shit up. And so forever, we walked around in Charlotte, North Carolina, anywhere in the South, you was going to see a Confederate soldier or some racist shit downtown. And they put it downtown. You know what I'm saying? You was going to see that shit. And so probably about six years ago, white folks realized it's not that beneficial for us. We're a melting pot now. We're bringing everybody over here. It's not that beneficial for us to keep this history going. You see what I'm saying? It's not beneficial for us to say we kicked ass and we founded this country on a lot of. So we're going to tear this shit down. And the South fought, but the government said, hey, tear that shit down. And they had to tear all that shit down. Now, this is what amazes me. Black people never fought to tear that shit down. It was white people that fought to tear that shit down. Now, when they start tearing that shit down, we was cheering. Ooh, they tearing down the statues. But we drove by that shit every day and ain't say shit. And ain't think about it. So white people fought to tear these statues down, right? Now, we're right here. You tell me, fill in your from there, and then we're going to go from the statues being torn down and to them want to remove this shit from schools and remove it from the museums.
The whole history or whatever that is for them people, like you say, I look at it objectively. I have no empathy. Just like they don't have for us, I have none for them. I understand it's their history. I understand their position. And see, this is why I talk about rhetoric and context. Well, we always hear about the slave masters, but the slave masters are still the business owners today. Mm-hmm. They still the ones own the corporation. They still are the ones that have the people working for them. The general white man and his children. Have we ever heard a narrative about who they were and what they did? See, we don't have that. So they needed something for them. And I ain't trying to understand it, but I get it. Because I got my own pride. During that same time, we had a culture for ourselves. I'm talking about our grandparents that was really living in it, that coincided in it. Yeah, we hear the horror stories. Yeah, we hear all the atrocities like hanging, like the rhetoric we got now. But when you talk about discipline, that we had discipline, and a lot of times we always hear discipline and think about discipline as a consequence. But discipline is a trained action that happens over and over and over and over and over again. So our discipline kept us out of situations from being over there with a nigga trying to get hung by a cracker. We knew how to survive and stay in our context to have our own pride and thrive. But see, when the lines get crossed, and we fight for the lines that get crossed. See, I used to respect their culture. I used to respect their heritage, not to empathize with it, but to know that they was bold enough to identify. See, now oh man. See, we done took it all the way to Republican and Democrat, and we done erased the lines that in a black person mind today. Which one is good and which one is bad? And how do you determine that?
You know, like you said, slavery was a business. The way I look at Republican and Democrat and all this shit is, where do I fit in the mix? Who's trying to bust a move for me? You know, it's a situation, Trav, where I know for a fact if I had gained my fortune by doing something wrong, at some point I would stop telling that story to my grandchildren and grandchildren and grandchildren. You know, at first, you know, people don't realize slavery is basically 400 years old in this country. About 450 years old. And we've been free from slavery about 165 years. So it ain't really an old concept. When you go back to Jews being in captivity, they've been in captivity 2,000 years. So I had a homeboy ask me, blacks and Jews. I said, man, Jews been persecuted 2,000 years. Them motherfuckers and figured out how to deal with that shit and come around. And we ain't been persecuted about 450 years. So we ain't really been in that shit long. And slavery is only 2 lifetimes away. 160 years. That's 2 80-year-old motherfuckers. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So a lot of people don't realize how far away this shit was, but actually how close it was too. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So I'm looking at it in a situation like, if I, in the first 200-300 years, yeah, we kicked ass, we took this country, we kicked ass, we took this country, and that's for any motherfucker else want to come to America. We kick ass and took country, we opened the borders up, but if anybody come over here, no, we run shit. We'll kick asses. We put the fucking Asians in concentration camps. We did all this shit to the Jews, the Irish. We run this shit. And then after a while, it's like after everybody start intermingling and the cultures become multicultural, it's kind of like, I'm kind of ashamed that we kick so much ass. So you see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And then on the flip side, me as a black man, I would rather at some point my ancestors stop knowing I got my ass beat. You know what I'm saying? It's like black people want to, for the next 300-400 years, white people are looking down the line of posterity, like they said, and to the posterity for which it stands, to the future generations for which this stands. They're looking down the line and say, we don't want for the next 300-400 years them to feel like we the most savages, ravenous creatures on the face of this earth. But black people on the turn are saying, for the next 400 years, we want them to know we were slaves and got our ass beat.
Man,
you really feel where I'm coming from?
Man, real life shit, right? Like you say, 2 80-year-old grandparents. That's your grandparents and they mama. My granddaddy died when he was 92. He was the youngest of 8. He had an old family. He told me about his grandparents. That's right there. One more grandparent, and that's 1620. So this ain't a long time ago. This is folklore that some of us still got, right? So when we have this rhetoric and these ideas of just us being so inferior, so weak, we don't realize what these spells do to us, man. Like I say, my great granddaddy in 1901 was a founding part of Grilltown in Charlotte, North Carolina, that had 400 acres. To this day, Billingsley Road was a man, Bill Billingsley, with 6 black men. I fathom, how did these black men become powerful enough to buy land and hold their nuts and do business with a white man? What kind of ideas are you having? Right now, we're talking about in Delta State. Man, they just hung a brother on a tree in Mississippi. What kind of man do you have to be subject, to be a sole victim, to be brutalized and hung on a tree? Them motherfuckers gonna have to kill me way before they get me to a tree. What kind of ideas does this shit perpetuate in our mind when we talking about always having ideas inferior to these people? That's what it's about. Inferior, superior. If you superior in your mind, then what is racism in 2025? When I take over any room I walk into, no matter what race, creed, or color I am, that's where we're at. Fuck you scared of.
And the thing about it is, this brother made a comment. I'm bringing him on at some point. Chris Carnegie. We didn't talk about this before. Systemic racism. I just hate that fucking word so much because, like I said, we come out of slavery and during the Reconstruction era, and we started black towns. We owned grocery stores. We owned banks, insurance companies. Like, we was so good when it was racist and Jim Crow. What more systemic racism is Jim Crow? You over here, everything separate. You can't work here, you can't be a cop, you can't be a fireman, you can't be working the fucking hospital, you got to work over here. What's more systemic than that? Why do we never acknowledge that the breakdown of our family and the breakdown of our community is the reason for these things? You see what I'm saying? Beat this, Trab, and this is what makes me so mad. I hate the fact systemic racism. Trab, we were poor and started a Harlem Renaissance. Poverty don't mean evil. Poverty don't mean soulless. We act like poverty meant we were supposed to just become evil, soulless people that would turn on our own brethren. There's this movie, and I want everybody to watch it. It's called White Power, White Powder, Black Power. It shows how the government gave the black community cocaine to build our community. And at first it started off right, Trav. We were selling it to white folks and it became a problem. We were selling so much cocaine and shit to white folks. And then we started selling it to our own, but then we thought we were smart. We let our young folks have it, right? And we say we'll let the kids hold the guns and the drugs because they can't get what? Adult charges. Now, in every other society that came to America came up off drugs and alcohol and illegal gambling, but they never let the kids play. They never let the kids play. Our race, for the first time, we did two things. We let the kids play with this shit, and we did it around the kids. You see what I'm saying? When we let the kids into this game, you got kids holding guns and holding thousands of dollars a day, doing grown man things, making kid decisions. You see what I'm saying? So the point that I'm making is there's always been a way that the white man has tried to make people be able to come up. He just did it with PPP loans. He just threw everybody a bone. So the point that I'm making, when it's all said and done, this systemic racism shit, Every young black man can go out tomorrow and join the police force in his local town, and then the police force can be an all-black police force, and we can start fucking giving all the white people speeding tickets. We legally can do that now. We just don't want to do it.
Man. Systemic racism, man. The root word of that is system. We all know what the system is. We all know the history of slavery. We all know our position in this game. We know that. If you expect a fish to climb a tree, Javon, at some point, it ain't the fish that's fucked up, it's you. We know this. So when you talk about systemic racism, every part of the system is against us. Do you know the parts of the system? That's the first question. If we're going to talk about systemic racism, have you identified every part of the system, and have you identified your position in every part? Damn. See, I got cultivated with the spirit of an athlete. And the spirit of an athlete taught me it's going to always be opposition. But you can't worry about the opposition. You got to have discipline, and you got to condition yourself for the circumstances when you meet at the line against opposition. So we always done knew what the opposition was. It's the system. How do you discipline yourself to know your position in the system? I'm a black man at work. I've been through everything that a black man go through. I done got in the rhetoric of, if I buy a house and I do this to it, I'm going to make money. And I went through that rhetoric thinking that the system was fair. And I went to sell my house, and they told me no matter how much you put in your house, it ain't worth shit because you stay around black people. And I say, oh, that hurt me to my heart. That shit hurt. It was systemic racism. But guess what? Motherfucker, I ain't gonna lose because I'm doing this for my family, a reason. So I ain't expecting no fucking fish to climb a tree for me. If we in the game and we on the away side and the referees ain't making the right calls, they calling fouls, they calling bullshit. At some point, I'm talking about in our context, I don't give a fuck about the white man when I'm talking to us. At some point, yeah, systemic racism, what's your position? And that's not being not empathetic. That's not being understanding that people gonna fall, people gonna suffer. But when we in the huddle, we got to understand first down, goddammit. We trying to make a touchdown. Fix your goddamn helmet and put your shoulder pad in. Other than that, what kind of black man still crying like a fucking victim?
Because we don't want to be a part of this system. We don't want to, Trav, we don't want to be police. We don't want to be firemen. We don't want to be DAs. We don't want to be court counselors. We don't want to be probation officers. We don't want to be parole officers. We don't want to be nothing that's a part of the system. Everything that I just named is a part of the judicial system. The very thing that we complain about. We don't want to partake in this shit at all. We think it's a sucker. You see a nigga with a badge, oh, he a parole officer, he a court counselor, he a probation officer. Oh, this nigga district attorney, this nigga assistant, this nigga, you know what I'm saying? This nigga trying to be a magistrate. Oh, hell no. This nigga cop. Anything, that's the only system that we can call systemic, that we can take over. We don't want to be a part of the system. We don't want to matriculate and move in this shit like every other race does.
Hey, Javon, I always say this. A man as real as his reason. And no matter if you're a doctor or a garbage man, both of them doing it for real if they doing it for a real reason. That's the system. That's the system you got to know your position in. That's the system that carried us through the most hardest times of a human people on planet Earth. See, we talk about 400 years ago. We talk about 4 generations. Man, I trace mine. All the way to the early 1700s until we became numbers. But guess what was there? a man, a woman, and his children. Only till now.
We get caught up in this group think, man. I think social media created a group think. We're so close, but yet we're so far away. At one time, there was nobody to cheer granddaddy on when shit was going bad. You know what I'm saying? If granddaddy's crops won't coming in, won't nobody there to say, yeah, man, mine too, man, mine too. Everything bad, everything bad, everything bad. It's like a motherfucker knew that he had to get up, he had to make it, he had to make it fucking happen. It's like now what we have is what I call like the fucking weirdo Avengers. It's like you got this group think where everybody can decide, hey, fucking Lizzo is sexy and it's body positivity. And if so many people say this shit over and over and over and over and over and over, now Lizzo is sexy. Lizzo is body positivity. Then all of a sudden Lizzo lose weight, said, fuck that fat shit. I was just saying that shit. And then black people never say, hey, this bitch led us astray. We just keep on going with the same Lizzo goddamn thought process. It's like most of the motherfuckers that'll tell us that there's systemic racism out here and that shit is hard is doing well. Even the brother Chris Carnegie that's sitting there talking, I know he's fucking doing well. Most of these revolutionary niggas that talk that motherfucking talk, that keep that motherfucking bullshit talk going, no different than the motherfucking white man keeping this motherfucking fascist, communist, you know what I'm saying? They call Dr. King a communist, you know, so much. That's what they do. Malcolm X said that about them. So no different than you have a situation where motherfuckers is saying slavery, systemic racism, so much. There are so many people that can join in and say, me too. Yeah, there's a reason I'm fucked up. There's a reason I'm fucked up. Peep this, Trab, when you was talking about systems, right? Down to something simple. I remember watching this this podcast and who was it? I think it was Suge Knight said that Suge Knight, Suge Knight, Master P, Jay-Z, Puffy, and Russell Simmons sat down and was talking about starting their own black distribution company. Now that's black people that's within a system. We could run and regulate entertainment and sports if we want to. We can have a much more powerful say if we join together, right? But we don't. So they Suge Knight said, Suge Knight, Diddy, Russell Simmons, Master P, and Jay-Z sat down and they said they was like, yeah, everything good. They said Jay-Z went to the white man and told him about it and blew the whole shit up. You see what I'm saying? So we have ways that we can get in. You know what I'm saying? We get up every motherfucking month for the joy. Oh, the 13 S is coming out. The fucking Jordan 441's coming out. And we get up and we do a lottery. Watch this. We do a lottery. We be in line all across the country. Millions of black people in line with $250 to get a new pair of sneakers. Now, don't tell me that the system, that's being part of a real system right there. If you really think about it, that's a real organized motherfucking race that can get up and everybody get the motherfucking Jordan 1130s fours on the same day. That's very systematic. We downplay ourselves, man. We downplay ourselves too much. That shows that we can organize, we can get up on time, and we got some fucking capital. Because there's no way the Arab and the Chinaman can come into our community and make all the money he want to selling Chinaman trays, rice and goddamn wings. The Arab man, he at the stove, he got your cigarillos, your blunts, your gas, and everything. There's no way you're gonna tell me we don't have what we need if other communities can come into our community and get paid.
Man, going back to slavery, man, this shit here deep, man. This shit here deep. I say slavery was a business, right? And you know, we have rhetoric where we say you separate your feelings from your business. You can't separate the two. Well, that's the difference between us and them. It was business in their mind. It was like you say, it was our soul ties in us. It was survival. So when you think about why America is the greatest, strongest nation on planet Earth, And you got to know that. The greatest, strongest nation on planet Earth. And no matter what somebody telling you, if you in this car and you don't believe that, then that's like going getting in the car with a drunk driver, knowing you finna crash. So you better believe and know that we the strongest nation on planet Earth. But let me say this. The reason of that is because it was all far back. I ain't talking about a long time ago. I'm talking about 100 years ago. You know, in Black History Month, when we talk about all the things we invented, you know, when we talk about how we did and gave the world everything, you know, slavery was an agriculture business. You know, can't nobody do the sun like we do the sun. That's why we love it the way we love it. We all know these things, Javon. But here go what's tricky. See, during that time, we all we got, we all we need. We didn't get paid, but we was worth a lot.
Mm-hmm.
We was worth a lot, but we ain't get paid. We ain't have no money. We ain't have no riches. All we had was the worth of each other. See, I told you slavery was a business. And it's words, and it's rhetoric, and it's spells, and it's trick. But when they told you was free, and now they got you working for money. See, before we worked for our wealth amongst each other, but when they gave us money, see, if you believe her, they said you can't worship two masters. See, when money came, materialism came, when all these things came, and we forgot our worth for we.
Mm-hmm.
That's why we don't invent shit no more. We ain't together no more. Our grandma say we's are tired. We's are hungry. We bit the American dream, and we thought if we get more money than the next, then I can be. So now, we say, oh, it's slavery done it to us. Yeah. I get it. But if you can say that, if it's systematic, if it's systemic racism, if it's slavery, whatever it is, I want you to ask yourself a question. And the question is more powerful than the answer. If you stand on that, then tell me what's wrong with you.
Ain't nothing wrong with the nigga. He doing real fucking good in life.
Yeah, what's wrong with it? If you feel that, and I'm talking to the people, if you feel that, then be honest. Look in the mirror. What's wrong with you?
Ain't nothing wrong with him. He doing real well in life. Sometimes we just get used to the rhetoric. I give you a perfect example, like you just said. When we were worth something, when we produce something, when we can grow our own food. Now we got to work to give our children an apple. We can't even get an apple. So it's almost like they said, hey, trade y'all worth for our dollar. Like you said, it's like y'all could coexist outside of us at one point. Now we literally have to go trade 40 hours for them to give us money for us to get a bottle of water, an apple, or anything that we used to get for ourselves, and we still be breaking even and being broke. But guess what? This is the tricky shit about it. White folks and every other race have to do that too. I keep thinking, what do we think? Do other folks don't have to get up and go to work? And it's about how you prepare your children and prepare yourself for life. You see what I'm saying? We act like we live in a world where white folks don't have to get up and go to work. And everybody, Mexicans, everybody is doing it. Can't nobody go outside and pick a fucking strawberry out the ground or get some grapes or a peach off the tree. You have to trade your labor for the things that used to be free. That's when they became God. God was the land. They became God because they killed the land. You can't go outside nowhere and see no fruit and shit growing like you used to.
Man.
And that's everybody. This not just black people that have to experience and live through this.
Man, we all we got, we all we need, Javon. I want to tell some real life shit. And this is doing systemic racism. This is doing all the time while white folk being white folk since they've been white folk, right? When my son was a newborn, my air conditioning unit went out. I had just lost my job, had a newborn. I'm vulnerable. My house hot. It's like 100 degrees that summer. Man, I'm stressing because I ain't never been vulnerable financially. So what I'm gonna do? I call the systemic racism is places of air conditioning, and they told me $9,000 for a new unit. My brother AC Kennedy is what he do. I call him AC because he in it for passion and profit. I called him. I say, "What's up, man? Man, my air conditioning unit went out," and he almost cried. He said, "Trappy, man, somebody broke in my truck and stole all my tools, man." I said, "What?" I said, "Damn." Say, I tell you what, man, how much all your tools cost to get you back in business? He said, about $400-500. I say, man, you still got means to get me a unit. What's the cheapest you can get me a unit? He came over, sized it up. He said, man, I can get a unit for $600. So for $1,100, the systemic places that we call racism, Morris Jenkins and these white guys that'll come and give you a higher price in today's time because you're black, told me 9,000. But my brother say we all we got, we all we need. And for $1,100, I still had to pay, but I got my own system. See, I do some things like we all do some things. And when you understand your position in that system, see, we had to go to that system to get the unit, to get the resources, to get the product. But that's business. That's fair trade to anybody. That's where he got to go, like you say. That's where everybody got to go.
Mm-hmm.
But we go there in our position, in our context. So when we come back, lay him $100, and that's a fair trade for a brother to a brother.
Yeah, because you got him back on his feet. You got him to where he can make some money. You know, it's funny because
let me say this. Let me close it with this. Let me close it with this, man, because the point is about our wealth is in our relationships. How well are you building relationships with us, for us, by us? And I ain't talking about no big idea. I'm just talking about the people that's in your life that you deal with. Because the more and more you understand how to bring wealth amongst us, the more confident you become. And the more you don't have confidence, you're insecure, you're vulnerable, and that's when you become a victim. When there's no confidence and security, it's any goddamn body. Why not it be the white man? It's got to be somebody.
It's who willing to motherfucking dominate. You know what I'm saying? And we never gonna be able to dominate, keep telling the story or getting our motherfucking ass kicked. We ain't gonna be able to compete. I say all the time, man, you think about Black History Month and what we learn about Black people. Do you think white people loved us so much that they decided to say, hey, we oppressed y'all all these years and we love y'all so much now. We want to teach y'all about y'all history every month, once a month, every year for the rest of time? No, they were saying, listen, we take things out of context. Like, say, for example, when they say, if you don't know where you're being, you don't know where you're going. That's a saying that they made up so they can always tell their children, hey, we kick ass to take this shit. And I know you might think it's a little bad that we keep kicking ass, but we gonna keep kicking ass. That's why you sit in the front of the class. That's why you got certain things that the little black kids don't got. Well, over time you feel guilty. They learned that from those Israelite people. They said, let's give them Black history, and they think it's for them. And each year our white children go to kindergarten, and soon as you tell them about Martin Luther King, they run home. Mama, we learned about Black History Month. It opens the door for white people to tell their children, yeah, Martin Luther King, yeah, this, that, this is why this is this is this. And it tells the little white kid at 5 years old in kindergarten, oh, so we better than them. We kick their ass, they inferior. That's why they fucked up. And it tells the little black kid in kindergarten, we got our ass kicked. We inferior. That's why we fucked up. Like, I would not take my grandchildren on my family land and tell somebody in the future my granddaddy stole this shit in a card game. You know what I'm saying? Why the fuck I would tell them that? You know what I'm saying? Like, why would I tell them that?
Man.
Or why would I take my children to a plantation? Say, for example, we see it all the time. And black people celebrate this shit. Black people actually go visit old slave plantations and cry, oh God, I feel the spirits on the trees. I still feel the souls in here. And white people are saying, now listen, this is Shagatal Plantation, and you can have a tour of it. This is where we hang slaves. This is where the slaves ate at. This is the big tree over here that we used to whip them on. You can take a picture at the whipping tree, and we be right there at the whipping tree, sad, crying. The whipping. And these motherfuckers charging us $30, $40 for this shit. And we think when we go see this shit that we actually had a great moment.
Yeah. Like I say, I get that though, man. Like you say, there has been, like you say, cause and effect is real though, Javon. There is effects to what we've been through. We long for something in the past to hold on to. And like you say, like you talk about that soul part of us, the thing that make us worship Jesus more than anybody on planet Earth. The things, all those things that taps into our feelings. That's a real thing, and I empathize for that in us, but it's all about context. It's all about who's telling the story and what is the intentions behind it. Like you say, it's no different than my daddy taking me to the mill to show me where, and this ain't my case, but this way I work, this way your daddy worked, this way your granddaddy worked, this mill gave all of us a good old life. And he ain't lying. And that person can look at that meal and be thankful that that's the roots of their legacy when there is no other legacy. So I get that, and you can't take that away from people. But like I say, close your eyes and tell me what it looked like. I mean, in the most atrocities, do you see what represents you in strength? Or do you see the one getting beat the fuck up and hung the fuck up? We know that happened.
Yeah.
If you still here, you survived. And you got to think and know that you was a part of the strongest of the strong. That's why you here today. And our heart goes out to the weak that fell victim. But goddamn it, my grandfathers and grandmothers, they were some strong people. That's why I am. And I'm just saying this. If you can't think like that, and they say, well, everybody ain't going to think like you. Well, everybody ain't going to think the same. But if we going to rationalize with thinking, goddamn, oh man, hey, look, we can't rationalize with that, y'all. Not in 2025. If you don't even know who your daddy is, use your imagination to know that he had to be a mighty man because goddamn you here today.
Trab, that right there, the imagination is the most beautiful and worst thing that we have. The black imagination, like, man, it's like our imagination, we can imagine ourselves. Think about these rap songs, right? And when we talk about slavery, look at what we get up and tell our children every day through our music, through our movies, and we blaming slavery. Slavery don't make us make a power universe. There's nothing about that. We talking about systemic racism. Man, Tyler Perry got his own fucking movie studio. 50 Cent can put out whatever he want to put out. Before we started dealing with Jews, and before we got on the radio, we had hoochie coochie music. Oh, his dick so long, gave me the clap. But that was for our underworld. We brought the underworld to the foreground. It's something about us and that dollar. This is what people don't understand. That dollar bought the low life out of us. That motherfucking dollar. And think about the history of hip hop. There was a time where hip hop was conscious. You damn near had to be smart to be a rapper. Motherfuckers had to know you were smart. And then when NWA came out, when the world saw, hey, you can make some money off this shit, and they started telling their story. Man. And they didn't mean to do it. But they won't go into school. They won't talk about self-destruction. They didn't have no HBCU sweaters on. Fucking EPMD back in the day. Ed OG and the Bulldogs, Boogie Down Production, Public Enemy. Them niggas came out talking about motherfuckers straight out of Compton, shooting, killing, robbing, and stealing. And it's so much easier to talk that bullshit. And it got to the point for us, we just became easy riding motherfuckers. We didn't have to sell dope. And if we sold it, we didn't have to buy MCM suits and troops with it.
You know, we hear the rhetoric. We say, man, there was a time when we were number property. They had, man, you could buy, during slavery, you could buy a black man or a black woman for such and such amount of money. And that's true, and that's sound, and that was atrocious to us. But in context and perspective, see, we was worth something. We was worth the money. We was the money. Now, all these years later in Player Club, they had a line that went classic. Make the money, don't let the money make you. See, we made the money in building this nation. We were the money. But through some words and some trickery and some goddamn wook, we started to realize that the money gonna make us. See how that trick work? Now we looking for the money, wanting the money to make us. When we was the money, we are the value. We are to this day. And if it took 400 years later, like we say, to wake up and realize. So this is what this really been about the whole time. We ain't inferior. We superior. The superior is the one with the value. And we so much that every 4 years, we talked about the other episode about American bullies and how they bred this superhuman for the new world to cultivate it, to be the strongest nation in the world. In the last 100 years, it gave electricity, technology, and every source of what we use today, the most powerful people that's influential throughout the world. Even in Japan, they try to look, sound, dance, and move like a black man. All these years later, dog, can we wake up and realize that the whole time, the whole game been in our mind? But we've been being this shit for real. Every day we wake up, we still being great. If you know you're great.
And that's the thing, man. That's the thing. It's about the rhetoric we hear. I wanna read this comment, and I'm gonna tell a quick story. K.L. Thomas said, "I felt human till I learned Black history. Got along fine with all other little kids." Man, you see it so much, man. Little kids hold hands, run up to each other, hug. Kids hold hands, be so happy. I got a white friend I grew up with named MD Caps. Like, we damn near pissed in the bed together. We spent the night over each other's house so much. And being that young, first grade, they played this movie, Little Boy King, during Black History Month. Little Boy King, keep your dream in your heart. And I'll never forget, man, I love this white boy to death. He loved me to death. And when the movie was over, I looked over at him, and he looked like he was sad. Like, damn, white people used to treat black people like that? And when he looked over at me, I had a look of anger on my face. And I was like, damn, white people used to treat black people like that? And we went outside to the playground, and they used to have these big swings that we would swing high. And then across from the swings, they had these fucking tunnels, like concrete circles, like 4 of them that you crawl through. I don't know if they had them at every playground. And they was pretty far, but we used to try to push us as high as we could swing on the swing. And then we would jump out, see who could jump the farthest. So we got to pushing him high, nice and high. And once I got him up to a nice little height, I pushed the motherfucker clearly out of the swing. And he flew over to the goddamn concrete and fell and hit his head. Ambulance came. He out for a while. You know, they finally get him together, and some kids were saying, Javon pushed him out of the swing. And when they got his head wrapped up before they got him in the ambulance, he looked at me and they asked him, and they said, did Javon push you out of the swing? And the principal was ready there to get my ass. And he looked at me. Man, this shit bring tears to my eyes to this day, man, because I know we thought about watching that movie. He said, I jumped out. And I knew he did it because he felt bad about what we saw in that movie. And I knew I pushed him out because of that movie. And to this day, if you look at black people and white people who are friends, you have liberal Democrats that tell us how much slavery was bad and how they with us. And we got angry black people that's mad about slavery. And that was our relationship. And it's crazy, man, because I know I didn't hate him until that. I wanted to hurt that motherfucker once I saw that. And he became an apologist. And that's what white people do today. White people will live in a good neighborhood and said Donald Trump don't need to go clean up Chicago because they'll say to black people, and this brother right here, he said it so good. Our people are used to parroting what white people say. Everything a parrot say, repeat. White people will say, if you send Donald Trump to the black neighborhood, that's establishing martial law on black people, and it's profiling them, and it's taking away their constitutional rights. Motherfucker, you don't live there. Them black people won't help. But the other black people that don't live there, we get right on this internet and say the same thing. They don't need to send the police into these communities. Da, 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 da. We say the same old white people shit.
Same shit. Like, hey, look, example. If you put something in if you want to hide something from a nigga, put it in the book. Now we'll say that to each other to in a derogatory way. But then we'll talk about how evil and things he did, and since, well, they'll beat your ass for reading. They used to beat our ass for reading. Well, they hid it in a book because they done beat your motherfucking ass and knowed you know better to go get the book. Don't that make more sense than saying in a derogatory way to now, like we say, oh, you have something in the book. And see, we don't want to use the same logic to just look at the same things we parrot to each other. But in real life, we ain't had a language. If you go back to the beginning, the book is filled with the English man's words. I told you, in real life, not 400 years ago. I'm talking about a man who died when he was 80, talking to me saying, I remember when nobody knew how to read. And when we learned how to read in the country, man, we forgot how to do everything. So the trick was to make you think that what was in your mind did not have value and was inferior to what's in his book. That's the trick today. It's still the trick. Example. I save money in a shoebox for a rainy day and something powerful. 08, everybody was booming. All the black women came from HBCUs. This was from between 04 and 08. All the black women came from HBCUs, got jobs at the call centers. The bootleg Jordans came out. All the drug dealers started selling bootleg Jordans and bootleg CDs, and motherfuckers that didn't even know how to crank lawnmowers up started getting trailers. It was almost like a renaissance happening in black America. America, and they got together, and all you had to have were 2 years job credibility, $500 in the bank. We was buying houses, we was getting married, because with her and him, they could get a brand new Altima in a new house. They had kids. Then the economy fell, and everything fell with it. She said, I ain't finna go through no goddamn struggle. I can do bad by myself. So they split. The kids gay, the kids fucked up, everybody fucked up, because the money was the reason we was something at that point. And it looked like. So when the fall, and they blamed it on black people. They say we let too many black people get loans.
I remember that shit.
We let too many black people get loans to buy houses that wasn't able to buy houses. So since then, and I'm giving you game, especially you hustlers, since then, if your money ain't got a paper trail, go buy weed. It's all you can do with it. Can't do nothing real with it.
Yeah, because I remember doing that era.
And that's systemic racism. That was specifically made to kill something that was emerging in us.
But you know what, Trab?
Hold on, let me say this. That's systemic racism. And I say this to say that. They can't stop you if you're determined. Get your shit legit and give them a paper trail. And let them trail it to what you want. And now you ain't got to hide. You ain't got to fret. You can stand tall in your posture and know I'm meant to hear what it takes. That's how you beat systemic racism. You understand how it works, your position in it, and you play to win. If they call and foul on the inside, who can shoot threes on this motherfucker?
You're right. You know what? And see, this is the thing. Like you say, play your position and do it the right way. When their housing bubble, the reason they blame that on us, their housing bubble, that's when blacks started. You remember? Yeah. Everybody was using fake income tax. It was just cosmetics.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Let's get it. Hey, look, if we can show some fake income tax, motherfuckers was saying they had lawnmower business. Motherfuckers was saying they had doing hair salons and shit. So
everybody bought houses, man. I mean, everybody
got a house.
I got married with at least 7 or 8 people during the same time. It was a renaissance.
I got married and bought a house during that era.
For real.
Yeah. And see, this is the thing. It's sad because shit be 10 years old by the time black people learn how to do it. I give you a perfect example. White folks have been buying houses like that. Just 2 years of fake taxes. White folks have been getting their credit cleaned out. By the time black folks start to learn how to get the I'm sorry. By the time we learn the system, they switch it up. And then we overcharge motherfuckers for something that they can do themselves. You know what I'm saying? Like, we would charge a motherfucker to send a letter to a credit bureau. And we charge a motherfuckers $1,000 to fix their credit. You know what I'm saying? And something that they can do. And then once we start doing stuff so much, once we start filing bankruptcy, they switch the bankruptcy laws. You know what I'm saying? We just be late. We be late on things. I'm serious, man. Say, for example, when the government hit, me and Chris and Lynn all had LLCs. You know what I'm saying? We all had businesses. So unemployment, loans, you're part of the system. If you work the system, if you know the system, you know what I'm saying? Then you had people that did shit illegally that went to jail. And you see what I'm saying? This is what we do. We have a certain group of black people that are.
Your volume went out.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah.
We have a certain group of black people that are going to work the system legally. We have a certain group of black people that are not going to work the system legally. For some reason, the group of black people that work the system legally don't use slavery and oppression as an excuse to not work the system legally. It's always the motherfucker that want to do the scam or don't want to do right, talking about some fucking slavery and oppression and some past shit, or either a nigga that's working the system well, capping just because it's the cool thing to do. It's almost black power to say, we fucked up. You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? No,
yeah, we're a victim. We victims. And like you say, man, I'm so empathetic. I'm so empathetic to anybody, man, who wasn't taught or didn't understand. I'm so empathetic. But even in love and respect, if I can look at a man and empathize with what he's been through, and he's still in the game enough to look me back in my eyes and stand strong, I got to tell him, get up. I got to tell him the game ain't over. I got to tell him, hey, look, I just told the high school the starting high school quarterback of my son team. I just told him this the other day. I say, listen, little Sam, you got to have a short memory. I say, it's all about the moment. I say, I don't care if you score a touchdown. You got to let it go, because the next play you can throw an interception. If you throw an interception, let it go, because the next play you can throw a touchdown. So I don't care what you've been through, brother, man, sister. If you can stand in this moment, you still in the game. And I ain't finna let you be no victim if we come in contact. If you're listening now, I get where we come from. But if you don't know where you're going, any road will take you there. But goddamn, you got to, in your mind, be going to somewhere powerful and prepare for whatever is designed to stop you, whether it's racism, systematic, or individual. It ain't gonna win.
Trab, I'm not empathetic to certain things. Say, for example, now I always said no check, no vote. I got a hashtag saying that, right? Now, peep this. I'm saying, as black people, we shouldn't fuck with neither party unless they fucking with us. And reparations is something, but I don't necessarily think we deserve that. You know what I'm saying? Say, for example, I don't think it's fair for me to pay taxes for people to be on welfare. I don't think that's fair. I don't think it would be fair for white Americans to pay taxes for us to get reparations when they didn't own slaves. I'm just speaking objectively.
Yeah.
Now, do I want reparations and would I love it? Yes. But I don't think it's a situation where that's fair or that's right. You see what I'm saying? Now, having said that, as black people, Trav, what I'm simply saying is we did not struggle like our ancestors, and we have half of what our ancestors had. This has got to be something that we're doing. This has got to be something that we're doing.
Okay, let me say it like this then. And this is more so on the rhetoric side, but there's some truth to it. The effects of slavery has something to do with our condition. And I'm going to say, well, our condition is self-hate. And I give this example. I had a conversation the other day where they say, well, they drop truckloads of guns in the neighborhood. You don't want to talk about how the guns get there. You just want to talk about the guns. But let's talk about how the guns get there. The system, the government, the white man put the guns there. I say that's true if it is, right? So let's suppose it's true. And this is a man who into guns. Say, how many guns you got? I say, you ain't got no more than anybody like guns. So I'm saying is, if they put the guns there, if they put the guns at the bottom of your street in today's time, Javon, and you done looked around and say, goddamn, hell, I guess they for us. How many you gonna go get with the bullets?
Quite a few.
So,
Quite a few.
So my point is, see, a programmed mind can be calculated. A programmed mind, I'm going to say this again, a programmed mind can be calculated. That's why a con artist can run a con on you and be confident in what you're going to do. Same game. Yeah. So the calculation is that they can get the guns.
They're going to kill each other.
They're going to kill each other with them.
Wow.
See, that's us. We can control that. Why we got to kill each other? Why we got to hate each other? Now I want to tell a real story, and I know, man, but this in my soul. That's why I say, if slavery is the cause of what's wrong with us, then I ask, what's wrong with you? So I went to researching my history because I really want to understand what's wrong with me. I ain't about no rhetoric. I want to know my story. Fuck history, right? So I go through the census, and anybody want to find themselves, go through the census. You can do it for free. But every time I found a generation, it was a man, a woman, and their children. So I got to my grandmama when she was a child. She was 9. And I saw all my daddy uncles. Boom, 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 boom. And I saw a name I ain't never saw, Frank. So I called my daddy. I say, Dad, who is Frank? He said, I don't know who the hell he supposed to be. I said, that's your uncle. He said, I ain't had no uncle named Frank. I said, yeah, you did. How the fuck you gonna tell me what kind of who my uncles is? I said, well, call grandmama then. So he called. I said, Mama, Trab said I got an uncle named Frank. She got quiet. Who told you that? I'm trying to explain to my grandmama. Well, I'm gonna call you back. So now I'm telling my daddy, I ain't never heard nothing about it. I ain't never heard that. So I called my grandma. My grandma called me back. No, I called my cousin, asked her. This my daddy's first cousin. I said, your mom ever told you about a Frank? She said, yeah, he died when he was 5. He buried such and such, such and such. She gave me the whole rundown of Frank. But my daddy don't know nothing about Frank. He called his brother. We ain't never heard that. I don't know nothing about Frank. So now I got to have a real conversation with my grandmama. Who told you? Frank died when he was a child. She was the oldest there. They put the burden of Frank's death on my grandmama. So much, she said, when her mom and daddy died, she couldn't even cry. She could feel the breeze of their spirit go by. Oh, they hurt her and made her feel so bad, so much that she never told her children the story of Frank. So my grandmama had a dark love with any idea that her children would get out of her circumference of understanding and protection. She had this negative force where she would kill your goddamn dream so you don't go nowhere further than she could see you.
Boy, you talking now.
So all my cousins feel this and don't know why. I say, so my aunt husband died and we at the house and my daddy's talking about it. So all my uncles out there, I said, yeah, little Frank came to me. Little Frank coming alive. At this time, I'm deep in metaphysics. I'm deep in all of this, you know, the conscious shit. So goddamn, I done brought Frank alive, goddamn. I'm for real. And all my uncles, they was ready to fight me, bro. You think you goddamn know every fucking thing. You think you know everything. Motherfucker, you don't know shit. I'm like, well, go tax your goddamn mama then. I'm taking a stand against truth. But I'm being crucified for something that's coming to me because I'm on a journey to understand how this shit really affect me. What's wrong with me? Why my daddy won't believe in me? Why my daddy keep knocking me down off my goddamn dreams? So my grandma had to come to grips with it to have the conversation. But she still say, how you know? On her deathbed, the last words my grandma said to me, who told you about the boy? So the boy, that's what's wrong with me. That's what's wrong with me. I don't know how that tied to slavery because I know it was at a time, I think it was around 1942, but I know it was in a time where he died. There was no explanation. I can only imagine because her whole family died of cancer. So I don't know he might have had cancer as a child, but there was no explanation. There was only to blame because
she might have been watching him.
Come on, man. So what's wrong with you? That's what's wrong with me. So if we're going to use our imagination because we don't want to understand what's wrong with you, then we'll use any goddamn thing to say why we fucked up. But really why we fucked up. Because we don't want to ask the real questions. And I say, well, they say, well, what's the solution? The solution is you. The only way that you can truly stop something is to be or not to be. And if we collectively come together, just like me and this brother got two different platforms, two different walks, but we come together knowing together we're more powerful than individually. To be or not to be. A great example of unity.
Yeah, man, that's a great story, man, because you remember the other day I said my ancestors is as far as I can trace. Remember I said that? You trace that shit back now. Peep this. That's clearly a defining moment in time that you can trace back to why a lot of your cousins might not be shit because of that. You see what I'm saying? Because grandma, let's say for lack of a better word, grandma was watching the little man when little man got drowned in the pool or drowned in the fucking pond or something, and the family blamed her. So like you said, she keep everybody in an eye distance. So a lot of the cousins, a lot of the family, but that's all we can go back. That's all we can go back. Because if you go back any further than that, we're going to start going back into when we had pride doing and owning our own communities. You're going to get some of that. So that's what I say. We have a selective part of what we bring from our ancestors. Okay, yeah, such and such, we were beaten, but shit, we started a school. We started a Harlem Renaissance. What about those great poets? What about those great musicians, those great writers? What about those great politicians? What about those great people? Oh, well, we're just going back to the worst parts of it. And even in that story, what you just told about your grandma, there's a part of your grandma that you can tell that's a hero story.
Man,
you see what I'm saying?
Let me say this part, because, and it's one thing about us, man. This is why I say you got to have empathy for one another, because we all pain driven. And you can trace that back to slavery or however you want to trace it back. But I say instead of using slavery, trace it back, talk to some people, ask some people, because you'll be surprised. That's what's wrong with me. That's when it started. What? But I'm saying this to say she worked for 40 years for Harold Food, raised 9 kids, had a sick husband, my granddaddy, that she said, well, you ain't gonna work no more. And he became an entrepreneur. Like you say, she had a real hero story, but it was filled with pain to say, they ain't gonna keep beating me down. I'm gonna rise above it. So if that's what's driving all of us, and because we don't want to deal with the real bullshit. We don't want to deal with the real bullshit. What's wrong with her? You know what's wrong with her. And if you don't, how about you ask her? So we can really understand how to get the solutions for us so we can be or not be. But as long as it's us in the room, I don't want to hear nothing about no slavery. Now, if I got to go talk to the white people, because I'm a representative, and I got to talk about how this put us in position, in our position in the system, then I'll go fight that motherfucking fight.
But not to us.
But I ain't talking to them when I'm talking to you. And if they listening now, everything I'm saying is true, and the truth is objective. They didn't want my granddaddy with them. They didn't want my grandma with them. And that's cool. But they had to do the same thing we did. Raise them cheering and love each other. And I think we did a better job at it. Especially, and let me say this right here, and I'm going to use this as subjective and objective. And I'm going to dedicate this to the whole Charlie Kirk type of thing. Let me tell you some objective truth. And this could sound racist from a white perspective. See, there was a time when our grandmothers went to be housemaids. Like I said, I talked about it, nourished their kids. White woman was the lowest woman on earth in America. He didn't even trust his woman and believe in her enough to nurture her kids. Oh, she was the lowest of the low. Don't that sound so racist if a white woman listening? But I'm just speaking objectively. That's what my grandma did. See how that works? So if they can put their feelings aside to see the truth in that, I ain't lying. So if somebody tell us from the outside, if they looking on the outside of us and we got a 4-man front and they say the dude beside Travis is their weakness, we're going to beat them because we're going to run up his chest all goddamn game. And I got to tell my friend, hey man, you the weak link and they coming at you. So you better get on your shit and be ready. If he can or can't accept that, then that will be the reason we lose. So from the outside, if they say to weaken them, it's to destroy the man and the woman relationship. If we can destroy that, we destroy their foundation for everything they was, because that's the one thing that pulled them through the roughest times known to mankind. And here we are. And now we in our fucking feelings and don't want to accept it. More than we can look at it and realize. Say, I got married with 9 people at one time, and it's about 2 or 3 years holding on. And boy, some of them fighting the bullshit. So when can we be real in our locker room? When can we be real in our locker room? When can we be real enough to tell each other, hey, brother, fuck that, man. That shit don't matter.
And Trav, you know what's crazy? I guarantee you, if we do a survey, I'm a sociologist, a correlation, the people that hold slavery live in a life that they don't want to be accountable for. You go out here and you ask men, and everybody talking about slavery and what slavery does, they are not with their children. They are not responsible men to have the responsibility of taking care of their children every day, because you said it more than anything. You know your number one saying, and you know what I'm finna say, and go ahead and say it for me.
No, come on with it. You gotta say it.
Hey, a man is what his fucking reason is. How that shit go?
A man is as real as his reason.
A man is as real as his reason. A motherfucker that ain't with his kids every day, having to take care of them and having to provide for some. He is the man talking that shit. A nigga that's getting up every morning, providing for a family, he ain't thinking about that goddamn shit. Because if he was, he couldn't survive.
And I'm gonna say this too, man, because we all children that got no, and I know everything don't go in the same order, but I ain't always been a father. And there was a time in me and my wife's life that, man, boy, if I had to say, there was a time that I prayed and really believed in prayer. I prayed to be a father. But there was a time I wasn't a father, and I wake up every day and run the play. So I had to ask, like you say, I'm listening to that. Well, what was my reason then?
You goddamn right. That's what your reason is going to always be.
I'm talking about before I was a father. I still had a light in my mind. My reason was pride. My reason was honor for my parents. My reason was for, man, it's still going to be honor. There's always honor. When there's an absence of honor, there's goddamn destruction. So even if you say, well, hey, everybody ain't got kids, you still got to have honor.
Mm-hmm.
Somebody know you.
But Trav, let me ask you something. Let's bring it back home for a second. That story you told about your grandma was so real, right? What do we say about your grandma in the future? Do we tell the family as we moving forward, grandma was irresponsible and got Freddie killed, or do we say grandma worked 40 years and raised 9 children and it's the legacy of this family? What do we tell posterity?
Well, I'm gonna be honest with you, dog. The truth ain't popular, and that story came to me for me.
Yeah.
When I told it, I damn near had to fight.
Yeah.
My aunt told me after
Because
my grandma.
you making mama hurt bringing up her memories.
Boy, look. My aunt told me after she died, she said, Trab, she had nightmares. She had nightmares, and he kept coming to her when you brought him back.
Yeah.
And
Yo,
that hurt me.
smart
That
mouth
hurt me.
ass goddamn Trav out there black consciousness conjuring up
That hurt
spirit.
me in a way, man. You know what I mean? But on the real side, man, that cured me. Because if I ain't understand that, see, I always talk about a wolf. I'm the son of a gun. Ever since that motherfucker shot me, ain't nothing been able to stop me. You are what you're made of. My daddy got a wolf, that wolf in me. Whether my son know it or not, that wolf in him. But each generation, it got to get better. So without that, now I at least understand, God damn, I don't want to be that to my boy or my daughter. So that's why I search for the story. Now I got cousins. I got a cousin. I got a cousin who named his son Frank and didn't know that.
Yeah.
He like, damn, well, wait a minute, where the name come from? And I'm fucking with him. I told you I brought him back. He in this bitch. I woke him up. So I'm saying that to say I don't know what to tell him, but it's there, it's out. I done videos, I done stories, I done told, hell, I'm telling the story now. If they say I'm just a crazy motherfucker talking, or if I'm worthy or not of attention, that ain't got nothing to do on me. But I got the story for me to make me better. And I know if they suffer from the same things we suffer with, because we got the same grandparents that raised the same children in the same house. So I know they're affected by it. If they use it to make them better, then hey, so be it. If not,
This brother Joe Cook says had a conversation the other day with a friend, and that was the difference. He focused on slavery, and I focused on accountability as of today. Now, obviously, you see this man on this picture with a woman and 2 children. You know what I'm saying? And that's just the bottom line to it, man. I hear people all the time, Kanye West says some shit. He said we still a slave today. You know what I'm saying? And I get all that bullshit, and I get that fucking rhetoric talk. But guess what? Ain't no way a free man get up every day, go to work, take care of his family, cut his grass, and be responsible, walk around looking at himself as a goddamn slave. It's a broke motherfucker barely making, eating noodles, burning goddamn charcoal incense, talking some dumb shit like that. Yeah, ain't no free man that get up every day. Back in the day, them motherfuckers said, I free, goddamn it, and they were sharecropping. Ain't no free man get up every day, go to work, whether it's for a company or for himself, take care of his family, is walk around seeing himself as no goddamn slave.
And like I say, slavery was business. So we got ideals of becoming successful for money. Like to say, you got purpose and you got profit. Profit comes at the end of a process. Purpose drives you through the process if you in it for real, for the right reasons, right? So you got a man that wants to be a business, somewhat have responsibility of others on his back. If I got a successful business, there's a thing called payroll. Payroll is when you pay the people that help operate your operation, and you become the sole dependent of their life. If you work for me and I pay you, this is a means of your mortgage, your rent, your food, your transportation, all the infrastructures. So when we say we want to be business owners and entrepreneurs, do we even understand the process and what comes with that? So we got this idea of, we're still saying these ideas, I ain't working for nobody. I'm too real to work for somebody. Man, I'm going to be a businessman. So when you get a businessman, how do you inspire those who not real enough to work for somebody, but choose to trust you? How you gonna tell the people that work for you they ain't shit because they work for somebody? That let me know your ideals ain't for real.
Hey man, before we get out of here, man,
Your ideas ain't for real. You just want to be a slave master in your own goddamn mind.
Or just don't want to goddamn get up and work, or you want to be a scam artist. Because if you ain't got no employees and taking care of no motherfuckers, you're not a business.
Yeah, you ready to use systemic racism to knock a brother man down and stand on somebody's shoulders thinking you above the rest.
Yeah. Brother Lawrence Poindexter said, man, I needed to hear this conversation. Time to get to work. Before we get out of here, man, I just want to say to all the brothers, man, listen, we all we got, we all we need. We got to stop making excuses, and we got to be examples, and we got to speak out. You know what I'm saying? We got to speak out and stand up for the regular shit, the shit that they calling sellout shit, the same shit that the white man is telling his son is what I would tell my son. Get your ass up, work hard, take care of your family, and make some of yourself. Come on. That's what everybody's telling their children. That's what everybody's telling their children. Every race telling their children that. So this whole slavery thing, everybody that went through their shit. I seen a time when Mexicans first came over here, we used to laugh because you used to get your grass cut or get a Mexican to do some shit for $20, $30. Them motherfuckers charging like the white man now. They didn't went through their goddamn Moses period. The Mexican charge your ass like the white man now. So, Trav, we gonna get out of here, man. Is there anything you want to say before we get out of here?
Yeah. There's three type of people in this world: the hero, the villain, and the victim. Don't see yourself as the victim in no movie, not your own or nobody else's. Be the villain. One man God is another man devil. Every Saturday during football season, they send prayers between two little league teams. God help us, both sides. There got to be a winner and a loser. How can we expect peace when these are the rules? In order to win, somebody got to lose. Play with all you got, but don't be no victim, man. Give it all you got, but don't be no victim. It's your story. It's your movie. You're the main character. I love you.
Well, there it is. Y'all stay tuned in, tapped in, turned on to the network. Tomorrow we got Wednesday nights, Ranting and Raving with me and Miss Carla. Thursday, Trav going to be going live on Facebook, 9:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, doing his hero training. And me and my wife be talking at Real Talk on Mondays, Marriage Mondays. But it's more just like real relationship talking. It ain't got to be about marriage. But long story short, I'm going to get out of here. And y'all tune in tomorrow. Peace.